Hi Tamers, this is Regina here and welcome back to another deck profile. This is actually a weird update on one of my old decks that I had never actually made a deck profile for, and it's actually going to be for QueenChessmon. So real quick backstory on that card. For some reason fell in love with QueenChessmon because story alert, and I am a huge nerd here. It was one of the Digimon I chose for a partner Digimon for one of my OC one of my OC fics, and so I kind of developed an attachment to it. And when it got announced for the game, I was super excited. I went out and I was like, I need to build this deck. It was terrible, spoiler alert, and by terrible I mean it was just a lot of high cost. It didn't have like a lot of really great support, and you were trying to bin a lot of cards, and it was just a little rough. So it was difficult. And then Liberators got announced, and they were like, hey, Shumon's line is a puppet, and my first thought was QueenChessmon support. And it ended up being really weird because I clearly love EX7 as a set. I love Liberators. I will not stop talking about it. I think my last 4 videos have me talking about it, and I'm so sorry about that. Please go read the webtoon. And part of it was like, okay, cool, so Cendrillmon has its own support, has its own deck, and then I went, but what if we just made Chessmon stuff? And really all you need for the Chessmon stuff is somebody who still has the rares from that set, because it's all rares. There are no SRs from that set, or like from that deck. And then you just kind of need to find some stuff from this set and the starter deck, most notably the Fable Waltz starter deck. Genuinely, if you can, please pick up Guardian Vortex, Fable Waltz. I think those 2 decks are going to be really good for a while. And with that being said, we are going to go into this deck. This was made in conjunction with another Digituber named Momentary Genkai. A lot of you have probably maybe seen him. So, very good friend of mine in real life. I called him up and I was like, hey, Chessmon? Maybe, and he made this deck. We took our old QueenChessmon decks and he put this together, so you will see some cards in there though that do go in the regular Cendrillmon deck, just because right now cards are a little crazy and it's hard to buy multiple playsets of things, so I'm just kind of switching stuff around, so just please keep that in mind. This set is fun. This deck is fun. So yeah. Okay, so first off, Kyaromon is going to be the egg of choice here. You're going to be running 4 of these puppies. I think they're puppies, they're more like foxes, right? Kyaromon is the starter deck Kyaromon. This is from the Fable Waltz starter deck. I love this card. In all honesty, this is probably just going to be a great egg to just pick up in general because it has that one attacking effect. If you have another Digimon, draw 1. 95% of the time you're gonna have a Digimon in play, especially if Overclock stays yellow. This is just gonna be just a generically great egg. In this deck, it's gonna be very interesting because of the way you can play out certain things. So just a fantastic sort of egg. Love it. It's great. Kyaromon is cute. It's gonna stay winning for us, right? So those are eggs. All right, let's get into our rookies. So crazy Chessmon deck. PawnChessmon is going to be the first of your 4 rookies. This is going to be the PawnChessmon that is black and then yellow, so it'll have the blocker effect. So the thing about the Chessmon decks is if it's black and then yellow, it'll have a blocker most likely, and it'll have an on-deletion skill that happens on your opponent's turn. If it's yellow and then black, it'll have an on-deletion skill on your turn. The black and yellow ones do not have the inherit, the yellow and black ones do. So in a very interesting way, it's kind of neat, right? So this one's gonna have the on deletion. If it's your opponent's turn, you can play one level 3 or lower Digimon card with Chessmon in its name from your hand without paying its cost. If you have 8 or more Digimon cards with Chessmon in their names in your trash, you can add 2 to the maximum level of this card. So at minimum you're playing on a level 3, at maximum you're playing a level 5. So it's a really fun way to just sort of like jump up in levels. This does mean you have to have a lot of cards in your trash, and in a 50 card deck that's a little bit scary sometimes, right? The neat part is that there's a lot of really great ways to get that going. The only unfortunate thing about the Chessmon decks, and I will say this right now, is the evolution costs. I don't know why they have to be so expensive to evolve, and I think it's just because they replace themselves as bodies consistently enough-ish. So these are just going to be a one-cost evolution regardless of what egg you evo on top of them. They unfortunately do not have a special little black box that says evo for 0 on top of specific cards. Will that change in the future? Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, they're kind of neat. These are the ones that, will defend you. And so these are the blocker ones. So there's 4 of that one. Following it up with 4 more of the black and yellow chessmon blockers. These ones are from the starter deck from Fable Waltz. They are also blocker, and on deletion, by trashing a puppet in your hand, you can draw 2. Fun fact, the chessmon line, all puppets. You see the little eyes? The little puppets. So it's just a great way to, if you're blocking something on your opponent's turn, you can just go ahead and pitch a card in your hand, draw 2. So a great way to, 1, fill up your discard pile, your trash pile, for this on deletion effect. And it's just a nice blocker. This, by the way, this on deletion skill for this starter chessmon does not require it to be your opponent's turn. So you could delete it somehow on your own, and we will get to how you can do that later on. But really neat. It is a fun way to fix your hand, and it is a fun way to fill up your trash. So 2 great things for that came out for this deck with the starter deck. Our next level 3s, there is a lot of level 3s, spoiler alert, is going to be the yellow and black PawnChessmon. This is also going to evo for 1. I know, we will always cry about this. This also has an on deletion effect. However, if it's on your turn, you can do the same thing as the black and yellow chessmon from the same set, right? This one, however, will have reboot as an inherit, and I think all of the yellow chesses will have reboot as an inherit. So it's kind of funny if you just stack them as like yellow and black, so you'll have reboot and blocker access. This one is also really fun to do what we call overclock with, because on your turn, if you delete this, you can just play stuff out. This also will have the same, again, stipulation as the 8 or more cards in trash to be able to up the level of the chessmon that you play. And with that being said, there's another fun way to fill up your trash for that chessmon effect, and that's going to be, surprise, surprise, the 4 PawnChessmon from the starter deck as well, except this one's going to be the yellow and black one. This one is going to be an on-play effect, so sort of the same as the black PawnChessmon from the starter deck, except that one's an on deletion. This one's going to be an on play. You pitch a puppet to draw 2. Again, just really great ways to be able to fill up your trash, to refill your hand, and sort of hand fix yourself. And it's really just a nice boost for this deck. Again, you will have to evo for the 1, and that's okay. I would also like to note that this blocker PawnChessmon is a 2K too, so if you're expecting it to perish in battle insecurity, it's probably not going to happen, and that's okay. It's still a security check. But that's it for our level 3s. There is a lot of them. But we're going to move on to our level 4s. Our level 4s are going to start with the KnightMons, which are the yellow and black ones. They will evo for 2 on top of a chessmon in the name, though, so you don't have to worry about that part. And since all of our rookies are chessmon, you can always evo for this for 2 if you'd like. Or if you're feeling really cheeky, you can evo for 3 if you want to try to memory choke your opponent, right? This one will have a reboot inherit, so if it doesn't get killed in battle somehow, you can at least evo on top of this into a blocker and get that reboot effect. On deletion, though, if it's your turn, you can play a level 4 or lower Digimon with chessmon in its name from your hand without paying the memory cost. So this one will just see itself and then play a lower one. The hard part about this deck is sometimes just having the right levels and the right bodies to want to play. So, but again, it evos for 2, which is just really great for us, and it has a reboot, right? So you don't have to worry about, like, maybe if it doesn't get deleted in security and you don't want to delete it at the end somehow, then you can at least just evo on top of it and then be able to get that reboot effect. So again, the entire deck is all puppets, and it's great. Our next level 4s, there's only 8 of them in the deck, so actually be a little careful sometimes, guys. This is going to be the black and yellow KnightChessmons, and these ones are going to have the blocker and also evo for 2 on top of a chessmon. This one will have the on deletion on your opponent's turn, will have the same effect. You can play a level 4 or lower chessmon from your hand without paying its cost. What you used to be able to do is you would block with this on your opponent's turn, and then you would play this out, so then when it's back on your turn, you get the on deletion effect for this. Or you can just play out another, like, blocker, right? Just to keep your opponent from hitting for lethal. Pretty straightforward, but again, these ones won't have the inherits. So, level 5s. Level 5s are going to be a 4 of the RookChessmon, which are very much like the same as their counterparts. We're just sort of moving up in the chess chain, I guess is the best way to say it. This one is going to evo for 3 cost over a level 4 chessmon, so we'll be evoing for 4 other things, but because all of our level 4s are just regular chessmons, you'll always be paying the 3 if you want to. Again, 4 if you want to be cheeky. It is also a blocker and will have the on-deletion effect as well. You can play a level 5 or lower chessmon in its name, and so that'll hit basically everything underneath it. It'll only hit 3 other chessmon, like RookChessmons though, so please be careful about that, because outside of these 4 RookChessmons, our other level 5s are going to be the Chaperomon from the EX7 main set. So this is going to be the one that says, when digivolving, you can play 1 level 3 Digimon card with the puppet trait from your hand without paying the cost. So again, that'll play all of your rookies, so you can either fix your hand, you can get a blocker on the field, or you can get something that you want to be able to delete, because this Chaperomon has overclock, which means you can delete a puppet at the end of your turn to go ahead and attack a security. Really fantastic, because that means you can either on deletion yourself, or you can just and get like the on deletion if it's your turn to be able to get more bodies out. So that way, it's just a really fun way to replace the bodies that are going to be getting deleted. And the Chaperomon also has the very special inherit that we want to keep an eye on, which is going to be the all turns once per turn. When this Digimon would leave the battlefield other than by one of your effects, you can delete one of your tokens or other puppet Digimon to prevent that from leaving, right? So this doesn't specify that, the inherit doesn't specify a specific Digimon type, it just says this Digimon. So it'll protect anything that's above it, right, that you evo on top of it. Love this. I just actually genuinely just love Chaperomon. Not only her design, she's really cool, but I do love both versions of her between this one and the starter deck one. I think they're both really great, but for the purposes of this deck, the overclock puppet and being able to play out another body to continue and replace them, that's what we're looking for here, right? And then we get to the big baddies of this, and this is going to be the level 6s. So our first 2 level 6s are going to be the queen of the castle herself, the Queenchessmons. These are going to be digivolving for 3 on top of a chessmon in name, which means if Chaperomon is the only one you have on the field, you will have to pay the 4 cost for the evolution, and that's fine, right? It's not the end of the world. It's just a little tough. That's the hard part about some of the decks like this, is that sometimes they are a little bit more memory hungry than we want them to be. But this one is just a built-in blocker already, and all turns, whenever one of your Digimon with chessmon and its name is deleted, you can unsuspend this Digimon. The hardest part about this deck was, once you started flooding the board, was remembering what order you should block and how you should block things so that you can get the maximum amount of blocks for this Queenchessmon, right? She's pretty hefty for an 11 drop, honestly, because she's a 12k DP. We don't have any inherits that boost that that DP for her. However, we do have some token generators that can make it so that you minus the DP on your opponents and make it a little bit easier for her to block, right? So that's the kind of neat part here. Just the 2 for right now, just because again that 4 cost is a little bit hefty and the blocker isn't as super needed if you want to be aggressive, and this deck is a lot more aggressive than the original iteration of the deck was. So that's 2 of the Queenchessmons, and then 2 of the Cendrillmons from the main set. These Cendrillmons also evo for 4, so we're just gonna keep that theme going. This will also have the overclock trait from this that got introduced in this set. This is going to have a start of main and a when digivolving effect that you are able to play a token familiar, which is a yellow Digimon that has on deletion minus 3 KDP to one of your opponent's Digimon for the turn. This also has a when attacking that is not once per turn, that one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6 KDP. It's a very good way to sort of board control, just because if somehow you are able to keep your turn when you evo into this, the one attacking is not once per turn, right? So you can swing and then overclock minus 12 KDP to something on the board, right? It doesn't have to target the same Digimon. So this is also just going to be at a 2 of, because this is a good card to have, but we are really focusing on chessmon stuff as much as we can. And also token generation is just funny, right? And our last 2 level 6s are going to be the KingChessmon. So this KingChessmon also evos for 4, so I guess we're sticking with that here. It also can evo on for 3 on top of Chessmon in its name. So if you find those RookChessmons, you could at least evo for 3 on top of those, right? 90% of the time, we want to see the Chaperomon for our other level 6s. This one's fine. It has an on-play when digivolving effect. You can delete one of your other Digimon. It just says by deleting one of your other Digimon. So you can delete tokens because they are considered Digimon. You can play a Digimon with Chessmon in its name other than KingChessmon from your hand without paying the cost. And so the neat thing about this one too is when you would play it from your hand, if you have 8 or more Digimon with Chessmon in their name in your trash, you can reduce the play cost by 8. So you just make it a 5 cost on play, right? And with a lot of the aces that are coming around, the really fun part about DP reduction from tokens and stuff like that and from the Cendrillmon is this could be basically free at some point. And the neat part is you can play the QueenChessmon off of this. Yeah, we love that. And again, like with the new PawnChessmon support that came in the starter decks, getting to 8 inside of your trash is honestly not super difficult. But that's it for the Digimon in this deck. So we're going to move on to the Tamers. The Tamers, surprise, surprise, are actually only going to be Arisas. I really, really did want to play the dual Tamers in this. The unfortunate part is the dual Tamers are a little difficult in this specific format because they do just target PawnChessmons, but the 4 cost to pay for them isn't as good in comparison to what the Arisas can do for puppets. And it's so painful to say that because I loved the draw, I love the memory. They might make their way back into there as a 1-of after some more testing, but for right now, it's going to be a 3-of of the starter Arisas. These are the memory tamers. So start of turn, if you have 3 or less, you'll gain 1. You'll go to 3, and then your turn when an effect plays any of your tokens or puppet Digimon, you can suspend the Sea of this rush. So honestly, with the amount of bodies that you're replacing consistently, you'll probably see this like this most of the time on your field because you are doing your best to just rush down your opponent, quite literally, because you are playing Digimon out by effect almost all the time with your Chessmon lines. So, just great memory tamer. It is a 4 cost. It matches what the dual tamers were for the Chessmon deck, except they are not memory setters because they do other things. But as of right now, the Arisa is probably going to be the dominant 4 cost in this deck for the tamer wise. And then you're going to be running 2 of the Arisa from the main set. This one is going to be the start of main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon, you gain a memory. And then all turns when one of your tamers or puppet trait Digimon, when one of your tokens or your puppet trait Digimon are deleted, you can suspend her to play a level 3 Digimon card with puppet trait from your hand without paying the cost. So again, what essentially the ideal thing that will happen with this card is one of your PawnChessmon or any of your Chessmon get deleted by like an opponent, right? And then you can play out this one, and since it's the blocker one that we're hoping get deleted, you can play out another Chessmon. You can give it rush with this, or it's just really great because this is also an all turns effect. So if you attack on your turn with the undeletion effect ones, you can also use this to play something out and also give it rush. So in that vein, that's why like these are the 2 tamers that you'll be running in this deck. Wah! Yeah, if you notice the card sleeves are all different because again, I can't afford multiple copies of this, guys. I want to, but dang. All right, onto our options. So I love this option. This option is Wonder Stomp. I promise it'll be sleeved up soon. Wonder Stomp is my baby option. I love this option so much. Look at how cute he is. He's so happy to stomp on people. Anywho's, it's a 2 cost option that lets you draw 1 and then play a level 3 Digimon card with puppet from your hand without paying the cost. I think this card is absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's really funny, and I love that it's just a common. You pay 2, you draw 1, you play a body. It's super great. And it's just the main effect also can just save your butt, right? Because you can draw 1, you can play a blocker to prevent lethal, you can play like a body. It's so nice to be able to do. And I just love Wonder Stomp. It's great. Like it fixes so much that is wrong in this deck, or that was wrong in this deck, and a lot of that is just like being able to play out bodies consistently. And only paying 2, we love that. We love that so much. And that brings us to the last 3 options in this, and that is going to be the physical trainings. choose your favorite arts, guys. There's so many arts to choose from now. It's the one with Pulsemons, or you can do the ones from the starter decks. I love that they reprinted these. That's such a win for all of us. The reason we're running 3 is this will search every single card in the deck, because they all the Digimon are dual color except for the Cendril and Chaperomon, but that's why we're running the yellow trainings here, so that we will pick those up if we need to. This is just also going to help negate some of the heavy evolution costs for the level 6s on top of Chaperomon. So honestly, and trainings are just good in general, right? They help you look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You can pick up one that matches the color, and then they're just there to help reduce costs. So honestly, between the trainings and then a lot of like the new support that came out with EX7 and the Fable Waltz starter deck, I think that the Chessmon decks in general like are still in a kind of awkward spot as being requiring a little bit of setup, but they're in a much better spot than they were before. I think they're funny. I'm so happy that I can play this deck again. It's literally just been sitting on my shelf waiting to be taken out to play again. I am going to be doing a lot of sleeve switching just because I don't want to accidentally mix up both decks. But yeah, I'm really happy that it got support, so I'm looking forward to testing this out. Will it work as perfectly as I'm hoping it will? No, of course not. This is Digimon, guys. Like, nothing's ever going to turn out that perfectly, right? Especially because this is not exactly a deck that is screaming meta, but that's half the fun, in all honesty. So I'm looking forward to testing out some games with it and sharing that with you all. So, you know, hopefully you enjoy the deck, and it's fun. It's just so much fun to watch your opponent's face when you're like, okay, cool, you deleted it, so I'm gonna play like 3 more bodies essentially from it. And this is also, look, one day I will fit Spiral Masquerade back inside this deck. I just love that card so much. But yeah, this is the deck as it currently stands, and thank you for watching.